Hi, I'm Ricky.
I'm Chris.
And these are our favorites
and least favorites.
And When the Sky Was Open, a story about two pilots who come back from an experimental flight where one of the pilots swears that there was a third.
What's that say? Go ahead, tell me, what's it say?
Well, in effect, it says those two intrepid voyagers into the unknown returned from the unknown in a slightly dented aircraft.
Bill, there were 3 of us in that aircraft. You and me and a colonel named Harrington.
Oh, yeah, Harrington.
Ed Harrington.
The whole story is about the mystery, so I don't want to go too much into it, but it's a really underrated episode that not a lot of people talk about.
And as far as the role of the Twilight Zone plays in the episode, from the evidence we gather, it seems that these pilots during this experimental mission got a glimpse of
The Twilight
something
Zone. Yeah.
that we can
Now-
only explain as the Twilight Zone, and are now feeling the repercussions.
Exactly.
The terrifying repercussions.
Yes. The best aspect of this story is really just the whole mystery. There's certain episodes of The Twilight Zone that have a really good mystery to build up to, and we'll get to some of that later. But this one, the mystery really, really pays off. And I think it's a very interesting watch right from the beginning right to the end.
I don't know Ed Harrington. I never heard of him before. I think he must be an illusion or something.
Oh, I know he's not an illusion. I know. He's been yanked out of here. He's been taken away.
Alright, next up we have The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street.
Maple Street, USA. Late summer. A tree-lined little world of front porch gliders, barbecues, the laughter of children, and the bell of an ice cream vendor.
This is a really cool story about, it's just a normal everyday neighborhood when everyone sees something weird fly overhead, and they're all like, what the, and all the power goes out in the neighborhood. And so weird things start to happen, and one kid is like, hey, Martians. And at first everyone's like, ah, Martians. But then as weirder things start happening, they start kind of entertaining the idea more and kind of turning on one another, because the idea is that maybe the Martian is actually someone among them. And it ends on a really cool note.
The role the Twilight Zone plays in it is really, once the thing goes over the neighborhood, they're kind of entering the Twilight Zone for the rest of the
It's kind of
episode.
influencing the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And kind of planting this seed. And what's interesting, the best aspect about it is one of an earlier story about people and their kind of natural dark nature when it comes to turning on one another and finding an enemy when there maybe not is an enemy there, but the concept of an enemy is there, so they go searching for one. And it's
Really, really interesting one. Really, at the time, very topical, and even now
Red Scare, communism.
for other reasons.
Yeah.
Really interesting episode.
It was this kid who knew what was going to happen. He was the one who knew. How did he know? How could he have known?
How did you know, Tommy? What's the matter with you people now? Stop!
Next one we have A World of His Own, which is about a writer who has a special ability to create the characters that he describes in his writing. So he can describe a character and then they'll just come to life. And his wife finds this out by catching him with a woman in his office, and so she comes storming in thinking that he's having an affair.
I must be alone to work, you said. The great and famous playwright. The great and famous philanderer.
No. And pretty much forces him to tell her his secret that he's been creating characters, and has to convince her It's true.
You know how sometimes I've told you that fictional characters come alive? They come alive so vividly that they make decisions of their own. A playwright may have worked out some kind of move for them, but they refuse to do it. They will not accept anybody's. They become so strong that sometimes they take over the whole story.
That's a really fun episode.
Yeah,
it's one of the a rarer comedy Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
With a really fun concept.
And a lot of times the Twilight Zone goes into comedy, it gets a little silly.
Yeah.
But this one is really fun.
Yeah. It's really fun.
The role the Twilight Zone would play would be they work it through the writer somehow.
Yeah. He
creates
somehow controls the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Instead at the end.
And the best aspect, I mean, it's very funny, really, really cool concept that really plays out. And the twist ending, the two-part twist ending, really,
Yeah.
is really, really, really fun.
And it's kind of a really early example of like a meta episode because
Yeah.
it kind of recognizes itself. And it was really the only concept that would let them do that, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So.
Our next good episode is 22. A really interesting story about a dancer who checks herself into the hospital after having a mental breakdown. And she keeps having the same nightmare over and over again of waking up in the middle of the night, reaching for a glass of water. It falls and breaks. She then gets up, leaves the room, goes to the elevator that's been called already, takes her down to the morgue, to door 22, and then a nurse with a demented smile says, "Room for one more, honey." And that's when she screams and wakes up. And she's been having this dream every single night for weeks, and it's driving her crazy. The twist in it is really interesting.
Yeah.
It's actually, you can kind of see it coming, but at the same time,
You know kind of where it's headed, but you don't know the specifics.
Yeah.
And so when it all plays out, it's still very satisfying.
Mhm.
And the role the Twilight Zone would play in that one is it's kind of like
communicate.
it's kind of reaching out to her through her dreams to communicate something. But what that message is really interesting. So.
The best aspects of it is the twist, like we will mention it, and just the main character, the dancer is just one of my favorite Twilight
She's
Zone
so
characters.
delightfully old-timey.
Thanks a heap, Barney. You know, you couldn't boost morale if it weighed a quarter of a pound and you had to dare it. Thanks for coming over. You must do it again sometime. Only make it next year, will you?
Oh, kitten, baby.
Get out, will you, Barney?
But you really get behind her.
Yeah.
She's not annoying like the actress in 16mm Shrine.
Yeah.
She's very adorable.
Yeah.
And you really, it's a
You
rare
like her.
Twilight Zone where you're really rooting for the main character the entire time.
Odd dream, wouldn't you say, Mr. Kavanaugh? It's a weirdo, Doc. It's a very weird dream.
It isn't a dream.
Our last favorite episode is The Obsolete Man. A really interesting one. Takes place in the future, in a dystopian future where the whole, wherever they are is ran by the state, which is very totalitarian. If you're not of use to the state, you have no purpose and thus you're obsolete. So we start with the trial of a librarian played by Burgess Meredith, who is being deemed obsolete by the High Chancellor because he's a librarian and they don't believe in books. So he has no purpose. He is then sentenced to death, but he gets to choose the form which his death takes place, as long as it takes place within 48 hours. So he chooses to be assigned an assassin, which only they'll know how it's going to happen. He chooses to die in his apartment at midnight the following day. And it'll be televised, yes. So, 40 minutes before the execution happens, the High Chancellor comes to visit the obsolete man. And that's where the episode really begins.
Yeah.
And it's really early on. I don't want to give too much more away because it's a really interesting...
The role of the Twilight Zone is really this is one of the many possible maybe futures that they play with in the Twilight Zone, where it could, like they say, it could be 200 years from now, or it could have been 2 million years
ago.
Yeah. So which is really a really cool thing that they do. That way they don't need to worry about being accurate.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, it's a maybe future.
Best aspect is there's more than one. The story is really, really good. The dialogue is amazing, and a lot of back and forth that's really good.
The two actors in it
the two
are
actors,
fantastic.
yes, Meredith Burgess and another actor. I don't know his name, but he's been in a few episodes, including Odyssey of Flight 33. That's also really good. That he's really good in. It's probably the best episode.
That's probably the best episode.
Words, Mr. Wordsworth, that have no substance and no dimension, like air, like the wind, like a vacuum that you make believe has an existence by scribbling index numbers on little cards.
I don't care. I tell you, I don't care. I'm a human being. I exist. And if I speak one thought aloud, that thought lives, even after I'm shoveled into my grave.
So those were our favorite and least favorite episodes of The Twilight Zone.
Thank you for watching, and feel free to leave any comments. We'd be happy to hear them.
Yes, and please stay tuned for any other features coming from Will of Manos Entertainment.
On Netflix, Twilight Zone Seasons 1, 2, 3, and 5 are all available, and all the episodes that we mentioned are on there.
Thank you and good night from The Twilight Zone.